Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the special planning commission meeting for July 30th, 2025. I will ask the clerk to call roll. Here.
Clark,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
O'Shea,
Here.
and Mannings.
Here. Seeing that we have a quorum, and I want to thank AJ for being online, and I know CJ was going to be online also, or he is, okay. Perfect. So I appreciate both of you guys being online and already forwarding over your comments to one of the other members. We had a very light agenda, but we will need a voice vote and a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, seeing none, the agenda's approved.
Oh, no, we had a second.
Oh, a second?
I'll second.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I was thinking, that's right, sorry, I thought Bobby did. We, obviously, we don't have the minutes until our August 21st for our prior meeting, which will then lead us to item 4, which will be public comments. At this time, if you would like to make any comments, please raise your hand, introduce yourself, give us your address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes on agenda items, which is the master plan continued discussion. I recognize, looks like CJ.
Yeah, I'll raise my hand. Hello, I'm just, I'm listening in. I made my 2 comments, just more of a typo and then a suggestion on one to add a reason why you walk in town. Look forward to hearing the discussion and I'll give some feedback again at the end.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will go ahead and close out the public comments, which moves us on to the old business of looking at the master plan, which is on the agenda today, with our goal of going through the questionnaire survey, or the survey and its questions. David, I know you're online. I can let you know that we think that you've incorporated the comments from our last meeting extremely well. I don't know if you would like for us to just go through them or just quickly kind of tell you one by one where we have some of the comments. What's your preference, David?
Well, I think we could go by page might be helpful, and then maybe just chime in as you have comments. I had a couple things as well as we go through.
Perfect.
So
Very good. So,
Luke said you may have something you wanted me to put up during the meeting. I haven't seen anything come through.
I think what I can do is just speak from my notes. I was thinking about emailing it over, but I think I can just talk it through as we hit each page.
Okay.
okay. Do you want to lead, David, or you want me to, since I'm here in the room?
Sure. I think maybe you could go ahead and just start start from the top, and I can jump in.
Very good. On the very first page, underneath welcome to the survey, I was just curious if anyone else thought that we needed to give a little bit more detail as to why this is important to the master plan. I mean, we kind of lay out that it's to update the master plan, and that's a long-range goal will guide the future growth, preservation, investment, and land use decisions in the city. The planning process is designed to capture and document the vision of the Saugatuck residents and community leaders. I'm just thinking, and there's kind of, we want to expand and say, you know, as residents, this is your opportunity, you know, or something. Thoughts on that from other commissioners? Did it bother you at all that it was that brief of an opening or not?
It didn't bother me, but if there's things you want to add, I wouldn't be opposed.
What do you think, David? I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, I think we can give maybe another paragraph or two. Just we say that your input will provide valuable insight to the community's priorities, but we could say we kind of expand upon that sentence there. Just say it's your comments will be incorporated into the plan. They'll help to shape the vision of the community. They'll help to guide the goals and objectives of each chapter. So I kind of to expand upon that.
Yeah, because I just, when you've got something that's going to take this long, some of us, we just assume that people understand what the master plan is and why it's important. But that was the comment that I had received. And I don't want to go into the full detail because if somebody else said, well, maybe you should start off talking about the last time it was done was 2016. but then it gets into being a tri-community, then it's like, well, why aren't you doing tri-community? So I want to just maybe expand out, like you said, a few sentences, paragraph at the most, I would recommend.
Okay, sounds good. And I think what we could also do is on the planning department website, where we post, the master plan information and drafts and the survey link, we can have a bit more detail on the plan and the purpose there as well. But this could be a little bit more of an abbreviated introduction and just kind of a reiteration how their input is important to this process.
Yeah, because I think that's really what I was trying to, that they were trying to get to was that whole part where it talks about, it's the vision of Saugatuck's residents and community leaders, really kind of emphasizing that this is their one of their opportunities, to be able to give us their vision.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder I'm sorry. My only other thought in that is that if you're going to describe a little bit more about what the master plan is or does, maybe throw in something saying it's statutorily required or that, why is the city doing a master plan? In part, it's required by Michigan statute that every city have one and updated every years, 5, I think.
Reviewed every 5 and updated every 10.
So that's a thought, anyway.
Perfect. Next page, which is questions 1 through 3, I have nothing on.
Nothing.
Anyone?
Mr. Chairman, real quick, just as we were on the first page still, I wanted to mention, I know some of you may have taken the preview survey, and the online platform did state that the estimated time of completion was 31 minutes, 31 minutes. And it then did say that based on their experience, it would be a 68% participation rate based on the length of it. So I have a few comments throughout this on whether we should combine some of the questions. So I have a couple suggestions here and there just to maybe streamline this a little bit more. So I'm not sure what everyone's thought, what your thoughts were on the overall length and content of the survey, and if we do need to narrow it down just a bit.
Yeah, David, before you joined, we were all kind of sitting here, and ones of us who have had a chance to look at it, did say that, it seems to be long, but then we're also trying to look and thinking of how we could take questions out or merge them. I was already familiar with the questions and I didn't add any comments, but when I went through, it was like 22 minutes. So I said it's probably easily a 30-minute process for anybody who's going to stop and think about the questions, or if they start typing in those open ones. So it doesn't surprise me that we're at 31. And that's why I think it's necessary that we do kind of upfront tell them the importance of, completing it so that they can actually let us hear their voices and their opinions, knowing that we are asking for like 30 minutes of their time. But I am open to suggestions if we think there's ways we can combine them.
What response rate are we planning on? Do we hope to have?
Well, the response rate that I mentioned, like the percentage, I think what the online platform is saying is that based on the length and complexity of survey, of everyone that starts it, only 68% will finish it. As opposed to how many people in the city will actually take it. Was that the question, or?
Do we have a goal? I mean, we have to have a certain level of response rate for the responses to be considered legitimate, right?
Yes, we'd have to have, I can take a look at what would be statistically significant for the population, and we should, try to hit that number.
Yeah, and what we want is the number based upon those who say that they are, kind of at least a tri-community resident, if not a Saugatuck resident. Because if you end up with a number of them who are, tourists, then that's important, but it's not as important to the overall.
But we should be serious about response rate.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise. it's
Oh,
not
correct.
Statistically significant.
And we've been pretty successful. And again, I can't remember like the last one that was done for like the priorities. I think what we have, like 40% of the residents that kind of.
It was right around 40.
That was right around 40%, which is,
And that would be
which,
good.
that's good,
That would be
exactly. And so Yes, but David, as we go through, if you've got suggestions, because I do think that, you know, when people start hearing about 30 minutes, you know, it may be something that kind of pushes them back, but I think if we continue to kind of promote it and have it available, hopefully we can get at least that 35-40% minimum participation. And we are during the summer, so most people are in town.
Okay.
I have just a remark or observation about question number 2
Okay.
in terms of race. David, I just want to make sure that the language that we use is the appropriate. And the one that I'm particularly concerned about is American Indian. I just don't want, and I know you don't either, so just don't want to, considering the population of indigenous people here, specifically the Potawatomi. I just want to make sure that we are appropriate in describing that population and not do anything that would offend them.
I mean, there's a reason why we're the Trailblazers and no longer the Indians, for example.
Right. So just a little concerned.
Would that be potentially better to say Native American?
I don't, I'm not an expert in terms of that.
I don't know what
Um,
that is either.
I
What does this,
think,
what does the census say? Do we know?
Yeah. I just-
Yeah, I have I just pulled the census information. I was going to make one suggestion for that. First, we have the census from the 2024 version is first off, they added Middle Eastern and North African in one line, and then they have new descriptive definitions for each. And however, they still use American Indian or Alaskan Native for the first one, and then they have a definition that goes along with that. So I have this right in front of me now, the most recent revised definitions and categories from the census. And you know, we did talk a lot last time about ethnicity versus race, and the only ethnicity question in the previous census versions were Hispanic or not Hispanic. And I believe for the new census, they are combining Hispanic and Latino into race as well. But they do say of any race, so Hispanic or Latino of any race. So they are combining it. And I found a lot of information making the distinction between race and ethnicity, and I can send you those links, but it is quite a conversation, and there's a lot that went into both having them separated in the past versus combining race and ethnicity in the current census question as well.
The current census does use American Indian.
That's correct. As much as I really wouldn't prefer to use that term, that is what is used in the federal census.
and the last time I looked, I thought Alaska was part of the United States or America, but I just don't, I mean, I don't know how much I trust our government relative to these kinds of descriptions.
So I'm wondering, could it just say American Native?
I don't, the word
Take out
American
Indian
bothers me.
or Alaska.
Well, I'm sorry, what?
Well, because with the American, I was just thinking it's not really, we're not saying United States of America, we're saying North, South, as well as Central affiliate, you know, who maintains tribal affiliation.
I don't,
Thoughts, guys?
I think we can do better. I agree. I don't know why Alaska Native and, I mean, I think we could do, Indigenous American, or we can do, Native American. I'm sorry, I'm,
Okay. Is that okay with you, David, if we change it to Native American, even though the census has it the way you stipulated it?
I think that would be fine because I think that would cover the title as it is to say Native American. And then
And I think your description still is applicable, you know, a person having origins in
Right.
any of the original people of North, Central, including North, South, and including Central America, you know, who maintain.
Like,
So,
I just
with our survey, I'm sorry.
looked up the Potawatomi website and they referred to themselves as Native Americans.
Yeah.
At least where I
Okay.
saw, so
I
I think that's a
Sorry.
good, no, that's it.
I think with this survey, we really should try to avoid any unforced errors. And I think we're setting us up for an early unforced error, somebody coming to city council meeting and saying, wait a minute,
Right.
let's try to. Anyway,
And if that's what the Potawatomi website says, let's go with Native American there, David.
Sure, absolutely.
great.
Thanks for bringing that up, Bobby.
Thank you, Bobby.
Anything else on questions 1 through 3? And moving on to the next page, we have questions 4 through 6. The only comment that CJ had made on question 6 was he wanted to, everyone consider adding in one more circle. That's, or no, this wasn't CJ's, I'm sorry, this was somebody else. Right now, we say I do not, I work outside the home. The question became, will the average person who's retired, it says I do not work outside the home, I mean, should there be one that says I am retired or I do not work outside the home / I am retired?
Or add a category not applicable.
They do have like none of the above.
That's not applicable.
Yeah.
That's not applicable.
But I was just wondering
If I'm
about,
retired, I'm not, I don't currently travel for work, so that's not none of the above. It's not applicable.
Well, in last time we had, I think we had, I do not work. So, I mean, we could say, I do not work outside my home, or I am retired, or I do not, or I work remotely from home. I think that we did discuss last time that the point of this question was to not really figure out if someone is employed, but to determine if they are traveling for work and if they're, what are the commuting patterns,
right.
rather than knowing what they do or where, if they're employed. So
Yeah, I just know that we have a large retired population and when they say, do you currently travel for work? Will they go all the way down and say none of the above, or I do not work outside the house?
Or you could just, as Mark suggests, you could forget that and say, city of Saugatuck, blah, 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 and non-applicable. Because if you don't travel for work,
This question doesn't apply.
this question doesn't apply and it doesn't, some people aren't retired and still don't travel for, I mean, they make
Right.
salts or whatever, but they don't travel for work necessarily.
Okay. Anything else on 4, 5, or 6?
I just want to commend David on question number 4. The wording is
Well
great.
written, very well written.
Mhm.
Question 7 or 8?
In number 8, and maybe I'm reading this wrong, the next to last 2 items, a resident outside Saugatuck, et cetera, a resident of Allegan County, but outside, isn't that the same thing?
A resident
I
of,
don't live in Saugatuck, Douglas Township, but within Allegan County, I'm a resident of Allegan County, but outside the tri-communities. Isn't that the same thing?
well, the second to the last says you're a resident of Allegan County. And then the last one is you're a resident outside of Allegan County.
No, a resident outside Saugatuck, Douglas, no, go,
I am
it would be 2, 4, 5, and 6.
5 and 6. I thought you meant the last two.
No,
A resident outside of. Oh, those two are the same.
okay, thank you.
You
yes,
see that, Dave?
That'll take 1 second off somebody completing the survey.
yes, I think and I think maybe as I was adding it in, I think I had changed it, but maybe not deleted that. So I think we would keep the second last one, because we're referring to.
Yep.
Because referring to the tri-communities is better than the third to last one.
It's a, I won't call it a typo, but it's a small thing. Yep.
There's small thing, but. Glad you pointed it out. I missed that one too.
Okay, so everyone's agrees to remove the third from last?
That is fine.
Nope.
Resident of Allegan County, but outside, yes. Okay, number 9, David, on the map, 5 should be 6 and 6 should be 5.
Yes. Yes, and real quick, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, back to the where do you currently travel for work? Did we have a conclusion? Were we going to remove the first bullet, the first option? I do not work outside my home?
You,
And then just have not applicable at the end? Was that what we were thinking?
That's fine with me.
that's
Where,
fine.
it's like, where do you travel? You travel to Saugatuck, Tri-Community, Allegan County, outside of Allegan County, not applicable, I do not travel.
Works.
Sure.
Okay?
So not, instead of none of the above, we'll do not applicable?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Fine. with
then
me.
again, you might have already noticed that in question 9, area 5, what's currently 5 is actually area 6. And
Yes.
the 6 is 5.
Yep, I made the switch. Luke did let me know about that earlier today, so
Okay.
5 and 6 will be switched.
11, 12, 13.
Nothing for me.
Nope.
No. 14, 15. I didn't have anything.
Not for me.
And we have 16, I'll do these 2 pages together, 16, 17, 18. The only thing I had on 17 is because on the other questions, we're telling them to check as many as they want.
to.
And so I really think that if we're going to say no more than 3, it needs somehow to be bold enough to where you actually see. Because otherwise people are going to just go through and they're going to be checking all of them, or they have to be limited. But I don't think SurveyMonkey can do it. Like after you do 3, you can't check anymore.
What happened was I checked more than 3 when I was taking the survey.
Right,
It
same
wouldn't
here.
let me move on. I kept saying, you haven't answered the question or. you
Oh,
have to
is that what it
think,"
did?
Something like
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, yes, I did. And then
You saw the no
finally
more.
figured it out.
Yeah. So I think that somehow just, all my comment was to just have it more bold, choose no more than 3.
Okay. Yeah, and Bobby's correct. SurveyMonkey does allow me to say no more than 3, and so it will not let you move on and if you try to choose 4 or more. But like it was said, it's sometimes confusing on why you're getting bumped back to that question. And so maybe just by bolding it, then they can see that if they're getting bumped back, that's why.
And only because both 14 and 15, we say choose as many as you wish. And so you kind of go through those and then all of a sudden you get to 17 and now you got to stop at 3.
Well, I guess to follow up, should we limit them to 3? I think we had discussed possibly limiting them to 3 last time, or we could just leave it open.
Do we have an ability to kind of say no more than 3 or no more than 5 or?
We can add in the maximum number so that it will actually, as Bobby mentioned, it will push you back to that same question to do it over again. I forget what the prompt was specifically, but it won't let you move on. Or we can bold it, or we can change that number, or as many as you desire.
I would say 3 is fine because question 18 lets you go open-ended on the same topic.
Exactly.
I was just talking about like 14 and 15.
Oh, okay.
Should they be limited as opposed to?
Oh,
Truthfully, when I was looking at the survey, I could see somebody going down and saying, oh yeah, all these are my primary reasons for living here, or.
Well, then you know that they like lots of things.
Exactly. I have no issue.
I'm just saying, I mean, I'm not being, I don't mean to be flippant. It's somebody might love just every conceivable thing about this little town.
Exactly. No, I had no issue with it, and so it's
It may actually add to other.
just the kind of highlighting the 3.
Yeah, gotcha. I'm fine with 3.
Perfect. 19, 20, 21 questions.
There is,
Parks and recreations.
I'm sorry, I didn't jump first. Starting with item 19 and then similar questions on how often do you do something? Walk in downtown, walk in residential areas. I think we should have a daily column or more times than weekly. There are people who, do Mount Balta every single day, for example. So I think if the low end is weekly, I think we're going to miss out on some people who especially walking downtown. There are people who walk downtown every single day. A daily or multiple times a week, something like that column, I would suggest.
David, could we have something like without adding a sixth column? Could you have daily, weekly, monthly, several times a year, and then rarely / never? Because truthfully, if it's
Yep.
rarely or never, it's kind of the same thing to me.
I
I
like
think,
that.
I think that'd be just fine.
Several times a year is like rarely too. It's like,
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So daily, weekly, monthly, several times a year,
Never.
never.
never. Okay. So rarely then is similar to several times a years. Okay.
It is, yeah. Good.
Perfect. Catches 2021, everybody's fine with?
I wonder if we want to say, is there a need for a second public restroom downtown? Secondary means that it's subordinate or just the word second instead of secondary?
That's a good catch.
Fantastic. So we need for a second public restroom.
We can make that change.
Oh. How about another public restroom?
Additional?
Right, so we have Wicks, Wicks
Instead of
and Village
second?
Square.
Because you got
What?
Wicks Park.
Because we already have two, we have Wicks and Village
You got
Square.
Wicks Park and.
Yeah.
That's true.
So an additional.
I didn't know we had public bathroom.
Is there a need for an additional public restroom downtown?
There we go.
It's the cinder block building with the, I forget the painter, but the
Yeah.
French impressionist.
Okay, downtown and the economy, question
It's all right.
22. Anything?
know your bathrooms. Where are we? I'm sorry.
Underneath question 22, underneath downtown and the economy, section 6. So the question 22,
I'm okay.
23, 24, 25.
I'm okay.
On question 24, where we have that as kind of open-ended, when I read it, it makes it sound like it should be a yes or no question. Do recently constructed commercial buildings and recently renovated buildings fit the character of the downtown area? Yes or no?
But what if you feel yes on some and no on others? That's, I think, why it's open-ended. Like you hate the Butler edition, but you thought everything else was great. Just for example.
No, no,
I just,
just pulling something out of the air.
Yes.
I mean, because we're kind of forcing them to either write something or, what if they don't write anything? I was just wondering, could it be like, yes, no, and then open? I just wasn't, but I'm fine with it if everybody else is fine with the way it is. Because again, when I was reading through it, I thought, well, my answer is either yes or no. I wasn't really thinking I'm gonna have to take time to say, well, I like this one, I didn't like this one. We're giving them other places, so it kind of threw me, and I'm just wondering if it would throw other people where they're like, what am I supposed to say here? Were they gonna type in yes? Or about,
It could also be added to 22, as in, do you agree with this statement? We could say, well, we can make it more like commercial buildings and renovations should fit or make it something, we should, the city shall ensure that new buildings and renovations fit the character of the existing downtown area, or then it's agree or disagree. If we just wanted to add that into one of the tables.
That's okay with me.
and then you get rid of 24.
Yep.
I'd be okay with that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sure.
So we can rephrase it and add it to 22 as a agree or disagree type question.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, again, 25 is fine. I think, most people are gonna have any idea what that means.
Are you
But
okay with
it's-
that part? 25?
I'm fine, and they can Google it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you throw in the funding mechanism for it, that would be confusing, but I think most people have. I think the three words downtown development authority each are an understandable word, and you put them together, and I think people can have some concept of what it is.
No, I'm fine. I was fine with it. Going to mobility section on question 26, this is where CJ wanted to possibly put in, why do you walk to the city? he was wondering if one of the choices should be to avoid parking.
I like that.
Okay.
And then I had two suggestions for both the walking and biking questions. Just if it would make it simpler, we could combine the downtown and neighborhood questions for both walking and biking, unless you wanted to have those separate. I mean, I think there's value to having them separate, but if the survey's too long, that could be one area to streamline a bit.
That was one of my comments that was coming up here, Dave, when we got to the biking, was why we couldn't have walking and biking together, because they both involve having better pathways or sidewalks. So I'm totally fine with that.
Well-
Others?
Okay, okay, I'll just do myself. I don't bike around town, but I certainly walk around town. And I see a lot of people, if I'm gonna walk if people are gonna walk their dogs, they're not gonna be on a bicycle. I think those are two, and the use of I believe we have a city ordinance prohibiting riding bicycles on sidewalks, and so it's how you get around town. You've got to be on the street if you're on a bicycle, but you're on sidewalks if you're walking.
Yeah, I think there's enough of a difference to keep the questions separate.
Yeah, I like having walking and biking separate, but I guess more, should we separate walking downtown versus neighborhoods and biking downtown versus neighborhoods, or just
Oh,
say walking, biking? So,
I know people who avoid downtown in the summer, but they'll walk all over our residential areas. So,
I mean, I'd be curious to see if we get a lot more people who say that they ride the bikes. Now, David, what I would like to say is in these questions where we now made the changes where we say daily, weekly, monthly, several times a year and never, that we're consistent. So like all these answers should be daily, weekly, monthly, several times a year, never.
yep, all the way through.
got it. Yep.
Again, just grammatical, how often do you walk downtown? How often do you walk in the downtown? I assume that's what we're talking about. Versus how often do you walk to downtown?
Yeah, I think that we can make the clarification, because someone could say, well, do you mean that I'm walking from neighborhood to downtown, or do I just walk around downtown? I think the intent
Which
here.
one were you asking? Which one were you intending to ask? That people walk to the downtown or people walk around in the downtown?
I think around and in would be what the original intent was. Yes.
Okay. And then in 29, how often do you walk in the residential neighborhoods? Again, just a small thing. And then those go all the way through 32, 33, et cetera, 34, same changes. Adding a preposition.
Correct.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. And I think overall, I think these are quick enough questions so that there are several that they're going to be quick answers. So maybe they are good to keep.
Yep.
Do you agree or 36? Do you agree, disagree with the following statements? 36,
Fine.
37, 38? I didn't have anything. else. 39, 40.
My one question on 39, I think I went a little bit overboard on the parking questions. And I feel like the first two in that number 39 could be added to 36. So they could be agreement, disagreement statements. I think we could have one question on parking. It's convenient and available when I need it. And then the signage, I think, is okay. But then the third and fourth questions, I think, get a little bit repetitive.
Sure.
I do agree with that. Okay.
So okay, great.
So you would just take the first two in 39 and add them into 36.
Yes, that's what I was thinking, just to cut it down a little bit, and I think it gets a little bit repetitive. So we'll lose 39, but we'll retain the first two statements and put them in 30.
36. And then 40, do you think the city should invest in the following? So it's pretty straightforward. Moving over to the next section, housing and the environment, we got question 41 and 42.
Quick comment there. I know those are two separate issues. I can separate those into separate pages. So I can put a page break there for one being housing and the next one being environment. But I just combine them because there's only one table for each. But I think it's no problem just to separate those out into separate pages.
Yeah, I didn't have any issue with
I
that.
don't care either way.
Okay.
Or I don't see an issue either way. Didn't think one.
Then moving on to
Before we
section.
move on, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Sure.
With some of these questions, not that I want to complicate things, but we get a better sense for sentiment if we have strongly agree, agree, disagree, strongly disagree, unsure.
That's a really good point. A lot of surveys do have the strongly agree and strongly disagree on the each side of the spectrum there. I guess personally, I usually combine those when I'm writing up the survey results. But I think in some cases, if we wanted to get a little bit more specific, we could make that distinction. So I think it's easy enough to add the stronglys on both ends if you as a group are okay with that.
I mean, I'm okay with it. The other things that we've done, we have 5 columns, earlier. I thought, let me just see.
Yeah, I sometimes like to simplify things, but I think in that case, I am good either way, and I've done it both ways. So I think that's, and then I think in some cases, we may find something to where we want to make the distinction that 90% strongly agreed versus a handful that strongly agreed or other. So
Well, to Joe's point, I believe if we do stronglys on each end, don't we want to put somewhat in front of agree and disagree? So you've got strongly agree, unsure, somewhat disagree, strongly disagree. Isn't that the way to go?
I think that makes sense. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Now, question then becomes, when you go back to questions like 22, where we're asking how important are the following: supporting existing and new local businesses. We have important, unsure, not important. We want to follow the same thing where it's strongly important or
Very
very
important.
important, somewhat important, unsure.
I think that's a different thing.
Okay, just asking.
Yeah.
From a consistency.
It's a good point to ask. I'm just giving.
More data, the better, if it doesn't slow people down and you're getting engaged for what's really important to people.
I'm not, yeah, I don't care. It can say very important, somewhat, very important. A little bit.
I was just trying to keep it consistent wherever we have.
I get it.
But if we're gonna use strongly in one section, then let's add the strongly in the others.
I think that makes
Because we have a
sense.
number of questions before that where we just have the 3 columns: agree, unsure, disagree. So across the survey, we'd have, is that then,
Well, strongly
agree.
important is kind of a weird
It'd
phrase.
be very important.
There you go.
Somewhat important, unsure. And then we'll.
Just a tiny bit important.
Exactly. Well, sure. Oh, it says not important, so it'd be somewhat important. And then,
Got it.
yeah, you got it. Okay.
Cool.
Good point on that. And where did I go? So the same thing would apply on the rest of the questions, 42. City identity and services, 43. Yeah, I'm just going back, we'll do the same 5 columns now, Dave.
Oh, sure.
I didn't have anything.
No.
45, rate the following services. If you hit them all.
We did.
46. We're looking at the following statements. We're giving them the 5 options. And then we get to 47. My comments on 47, only because I do not want to ruffle the tri-community area, was that I thought that if we were going to say the city, just instead of saying should consolidate, it's like the city Department of Public Works should consider and investigate possible consolidation with Detroit, or not Detroit, with Douglas Public Works. It's, saying should to me is, it's almost like, well, somehow we think that it.
I kind of similar, but I was thinking more along the lines of the city would benefit from the consolidation of public works. And I wouldn't even go any further than Douglas or whatever, let them,
Well, yeah, would the city benefit or,
yeah, the consolidation of public works across the tri-community or something like that. I don't- You could say Douglas too, it doesn't matter, but to me,
Yeah.
but
I mean, it
I think
was,
asking if they see benefit in it may be a little softer way of asking the question.
Well, the township doesn't have a public works department, does it?
No, I don't think so.
They just rely on the county.
right.
So, I mean, just on that minor point, we can soften these, yeah.
I just wonder if we could
it's
just say-
like straightforward, but,
I mean, because it would be a consideration that you would have to try to like work out. It's not like we can't just say that we should do it.
the city should consider consolidation of public works with Douglas. That's fine with me.
Are you okay with putting something in there about more like consider, David?
Yeah, yep. So the city would benefit or the city should consolidate?
Just consider consolidation of public works.
The city should consider the consolidation of public works.
You want to put Douglas in there? I mean, it's,
I think so.
Okay, the city should benefit.
That's the only one that we would
If
consolidate.
you're going that far, you have to
yeah,
because.
I mean, it's the only one you really would consolidate with. You're not going to consolidate with Holland.
Or Detroit, as you said.
Hey, I still go back and forth on the second one, Saugatuck and Douglas should combine. It's been discussed in the past. It was a real sticking point. Douglas has already done their master plan. It doesn't have any reference to anything like that, and then we're including that in our questionnaire.
Well, that was something AJ brought up. I think I brought up and AJ also brought it up and said, and if I'm remembering AJ's comment, it was, well, it's been a long time. It's been a while since that was last brought up to a vote. So, this is a master plan. This is like, we're throwing a lot of ideas out here and people can absolutely, it could be 100% disagree. And then we know.
That's true.
I think it should stay in.
It's a data point, I guess.
It's a data.
Just like the one on the police, there's a lot baked into that. So should they combine, recognizing that the cost would go up by X
Oh,
and
talking
service
about
would
number
change by
3 now?
Y? Like,
I was
so-
talking about the city
oh,
combining.
sure.
Yeah, are we fine with that one?
Why
Leave
not?
it in, take it out? I don't care. Leave it in. Now, moving down to the police, as you were saying, because I have the,
It's, again, I don't mind the question. It's just I'm not sure what we'll do with the answer because the real answer is it depends, right? Do we get the same service at a same or better price, or are we willing to make the sacrifices for what we give up?
Right.
So,
because that's one of the comments I put in mind was the city, it says the city should have its own police department. Admin would be, but add an additional cost over the subcontract we do with Allegan County currently. It's like, again, some of these things where people think you're gonna say yes, but then they don't realize that, hey, we're saving $300,000 a year.
But if we do the same phraseology as you suggested, the first one, the city should consider, the city should investigate. Reinstituting its own police department. I think that softens it to the point of, I mean, I know there are people who feel that they would be safer if we had our own police department than having the sheriff's department come around whenever the sheriff's department does come around. So
I think if we had at least considered in there, just like on the next
Okay.
one. And again, on the last one, the city should, if we put in consider, then we have to say, consider increasing the tax base.
Taxation and expansion of city limits,
What's that?
that build good neighbor relationships.
I know. Well, that's what I was concerned with both of those.
The
It's like-
number one complaint you hear about residents of this, homeowners in this town is that taxes are too high. The number one way that you're going to decrease, one of the two main ways that you would decrease taxes in this community would be to annex property and increase our tax base. The other would be to cut services. There are mainly two ways that I can think about top of my head. And it is a common practice that I said at the last meeting. And you know, if I, if I ruffle some township feathers,
I'm not,
What's-
I'm just,
I think the two of them are gonna definitely have comments from the other. Two communities, but I don't have, I'm not opposed to them, long as it says the city should consider increasing the tax base and controlling nearby lands.
do we have to say controlling nearby lands? Could we just?
I don't.
The city should increase the tax base to annexation.
That's a good point.
That's a good catch
City.
there.
Yep.
Good catch.
I think maybe the city should consider the annexation of nearby lands to increase the tax base.
There you go.
There you go.
That's fine.
Yep.
Got it.
Perfect.
And you're keeping in the phrase expansion of city limits? In that somehow?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because that would describe
really-
the annexation process a bit. I can.
Okay.
Okay. 48, I had nothing. And then we get to the 49 and 50, which is actually the ranking.
I'm with me.
And then 50, all the reds, open ones, 51, 52, 53.
I want to, I'm sorry, real quick. I want to express my appreciation for the commission agreeing to throw out some ideas such as that are in 47. I think, as I said before, I think it's important that if there is a time for the city to have a discussion or have a survey of what people think, it's in the master plan. So I appreciate the commission growing along with some of my suggestions on that.
I appreciate the suggestions because I do think that it's a data point and, especially once you said, if everybody says they disagree, then it's like, okay. You dropped it. Yeah, it's not an issue going forward. If you get 80% who say that they agree, then it becomes, well, should there be a consideration for it? Do you have other things there, David? Do you feel comfortable with where we're at now?
No, I think we're in pretty good shape. Again, I'll update that initial paragraph and just provide a clearer introduction and really say that this will take some time and effort and I think it's good to say that it could take about 30 minutes, but your inputs can be valuable and will help shape the vision of the community. It's a longer survey, but this is an important survey. And I think folks just need to know that we're really looking for them to put some time into it. And as I was looking even today, I did find some community surveys that were on the 20 to 30 minute side of things as well. So I don't think I think it's certainly on the high end of the number of questions, but it's probably not unheard of.
Okay.
My memory may be failing me on this, but when we did the tri-community plan back in the early 2000s, we did a survey, and as I recall, that survey took almost an hour on average, about a little under an hour to complete. And everybody was certain that the response rate was going to be awful. And we got like a 42% response rate. So I think that, if we promote this in the right way,
Exactly.
because this is, and especially in the world today or our country today, I can't think of a more important time. There has been in terms of being willing to, when you're asked to express your opinion and give voice to an issue, this is the time to do that. And I understand the sensitivity, having been involved in the first consolidation. journey. But I understand the sensitivity to it, but each of these governments, our government, and what I hope we try to do here every time, and I think we do, but other governments too, we should, as tough as a decision may be, we should be making decisions on the behalf, what works best for the community as a whole.
Correct.
And these are not, I mean, we are connected whether we like it or not. So we have to be watching out for one another and making the decision that's hopefully best for the whole rather than the different parts. So for what it's worth.
I would totally agree and very well said. Hey, David, so now moving forward, since I think we have a pretty much a consensus. If we were talking about trying to get this survey out, my thought was, trying to get it out like early next month. Does it have to come back in front of the planning commission for us to actually approve it? Or can you send the revision to Luke or each of us? We can respond back saying, yes, all, in our opinion, everything is in place. Or does it actually require a vote? I don't know why it would require a vote, but
Yeah, I don't think it requires a vote. But I think I can send it back out and then maybe just everyone can respond individually just to see if everything's been captured. And then for some reason, if we have any conflict between comments, we can check back in, or maybe you and I could just chat about it before it goes out.
correct. Because I was just kind of going back to our very first meeting we had, when we started talking about the master plan, and you were laying out kind of like your schedule and timeline. We were discussing that we'd like to have, public sessions occurring by September, hopefully. And I thought that we would potentially want to have the survey out. Like when I was just writing down, like say the survey could come out like by August 6th, you give them 3 weeks to respond. By August 27th, we can compile some of the survey results over the next like 10 days. And then within the September 16th or 17th, you have your first public forum where you actually let them know some of the survey results and see that the people who come to the public forum, what their comments are to the results we've gotten at that point. That was just what I was kind of thinking to throw out. I don't know how you've done it in other cities.
Yeah, I actually I like that approach. That could be one way to do it. I think I was originally thinking we could open it in August and then keep it open through the open house, just so that folks who didn't hear about it could take the survey the night of the open house or the week after and then close it. But I think if we really got the word out and we did postcards or mailers or other forms to get the word out on the survey, we could just have it open for 3, maybe 4 weeks, and then it'd be closed before the open house, and then be able to present those results. I think that would work. That's actually a pretty good idea too, because we'd be able to show that information at the drop-in event. I'd be fine either way, and as long as we were able to get the word out on the survey effectively in early August.
What would be, let's say that we'd had a public event in August to kind of promote the use of the survey. What else would we have at that public event?
Punch
What?
and cookies.
No, I'm just trying to think of like when you do the public events, when we were doing it for like short-term rental, we had specific things that you were trying to accomplish.
Yep.
Being the fact that we are just at the beginning of this, would you have like ideas about the different chapters that we want to cover in the master plan and have people kind of comment on that? I'm just trying to think, would there be any justification of having two, like one open event during the time period that the survey is open, and then another one a few weeks after the survey concludes?
Yeah. I'd have to think about that. And I know time is of the essence, but my thought originally was that we would do something, in September and really advertise that as the initial kickoff event, to where we would actually have the stations and maps in various exercises concerning intersections and crosswalks or environmental issues or downtown. So I think we could at that event, we would have boards that I would create with maps or exercises where they could, put Post-it notes or mark up a map. But I could get those done fairly quickly, but August would be a little bit too quick in order to prepare the materials and get the word out. So, and I still want to be able to give you a draft of the board layouts sometime in August before we advertise.
And that's the only reason why I was saying September, because I remember that from our original notes. But then I didn't know if we wanted to leave the survey open that long, or if we would want the survey closed before the September public meeting. There's plus and minuses to it.
Well, if we can have the meeting early enough in September, the survey doesn't necessarily have to be closed by then. I mean, with having thought about it for 5 minutes
Yeah.
now, I think I would prefer to get the survey out, to stick with David's original plan. And we'll begin getting results back in. Whether we close it before the meeting or not is another question. If we can have the meeting early enough in September, I would say leave it open. So if people come to the meeting who haven't filled out the survey and decide they want to, they'll have that opportunity. We close it maybe, I don't know, 4 days after the meeting.
Or if it's, I mean, is there any risk to, if you want to go that route, is there any risk to being open till the end of September? It's like we'll have a meeting sometime during September and the survey is open to be completed by September 30th. That still keeps us on the timeline we originally talked about.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point too. And we could also just release initial survey or some initial summary survey results at the open house.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So we may have a couple hundred responses at that point. So we could see how things are trending and have some at least summary information, maybe not the full comprehensive analysis, but at least show which topics are boiling up to the top or bottom.
Right. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I wouldn't have the two public meetings like August and September. I think that's a lot to ask people.
Well, I think the August one would be almost very challenging
Yeah,
to find
yeah.
and promote it.
Pretty impressive.
So that's why I just at least wanted to bring it up and make certain we're on the same page, but.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was thinking again, like the middle of September. So like if you had that, say like that 15th, 16th, 17th. Then you have still another 2 weeks. So if people come in, they see it, they're like, oh, I wasn't aware. They got 2 more weeks to still fill it out.
We have a planning commission meeting on the 18th of September.
Yes, we do.
Do we want to at least try to target a date this evening, or do you want us to reach out and poll the commission members once I have a chance to coordinate with Ryan and Luke?
Well, because we're gonna have a new. Right, Luke will be gone. I think, we had our interviews last week. I've got to stop in and talk to Ryan about if he's got the final round. They'll be coming in somewhat new. I mean, I don't even know if we'll have them in place by our August 21st. I mean, the goal was to possibly have them be able to start by then. I would like them to at least feel like they're involved. Tentatively, I would think that, as we do have our meeting on the 18th, I know it's kind of crowding things. I have to look at the rest of the city's calendar. Do we have an open night that same week?
What same, sorry.
That's the week of the 15th, 16th, 17th, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I am open the 17th for sure.
Nothing for nothing. I'm going to be gone, leaving the 14th for 2 weeks. So if you did the week before that, the first full week after Labor Day, I consider that.
Yeah.
But I'm just.
And again,
I'm
and
one
it's
of
a
seven.
chance of us all being able to be there because the
Yeah,
6th,
right.
the 6th through the 13th, I'm not in the country.
Council meeting, the 15th, or 16th.
So the 17th won't work, David. If you're out the 15th, 16th, and it'd be the prior week. I won't be here, but the other commissioners could be here.
But you'd be kind of in charge of the meeting, of the public hearing as chair of the plan commission, so it'd be good for you to be here versus
I know.
another plan commission member, so.
They said I leave on the 6th, so I would not want to try to have it the week of Labor Day.
Well, concerning the open house, it would be a drop-in, so there would not be a formal opening or agenda.
Okay.
But just like, there'd be a welcome station, where typically I would be at the welcome station, maybe with one other planning commission member. And then we would direct folks around the room to the various stations that would be staffed by planning commission members or other staff members. So it's really kind of like an at your pace type event where people can show up from, let's just say 5:30 to 7:30.
Right.
And so it would be advertised as such so that it wouldn't, we would check with legal just to make sure that, because there would be a quorum, but we would ensure that, obviously there's no decisions being made and everything is just, related
Right.
to the open house. So we would advertise it accordingly.
And I think that the main reason we want to try to have as many of the the commissioners there would be just for the manning of the stations.
Correct.
So you're not envisioning a public comment section? For example, when we did short-term rentals, there was the stations and the post-it notes and everything.
Right.
And then everybody went into the auditorium part and was able to stand up and say what they wanted to say, facing the city council or the short-term rental task force at that time. You're not envisioning that part?
I didn't envision that for the first public open house, but I think maybe as we move forward through the planning process, we could do something like that. Then again, we could also design it in a different manner than what I was envisioning. I think this would be, it's more of kind of just like a one-on-one small group discussions, rather than formal opportunities to speak at a mic.
Okay. Because we will need a public hearing at this at some point later down the road, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, there will be a formal.
That takes care of that part.
Yeah, this would just be an open house that's basically being put
Okay.
on by the city
Got it.
to promote the survey and results to date of the survey related to the master plan.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. The opportunity that you were describing, I think we could probably have before the official public hearing, which, obviously you'd run it like a normal hearing at your PC meeting. But before that, we could actually have another event to where maybe it is a formal presentation of what we've learned, what our major recommendations are. It could even have a drop-in session for a portion of that. And then maybe it turns into a more formal session of a presentation and then formal question answer or formal comments. That would be more of like an event rather than the hearing itself. So we could certainly design something like that as well later in the process.
So let's get back to September.
So Mark, are you gone for 2 weeks?
Yes. 14 through,
28,
When are you gone, Steve?
6th through the 13th. So again, I don't know if it's
Out the 31st to the 6th.
of October or September.
31st of August
August.
to the 6th of September.
Yeah, because that first week with it being Labor Day that's one, it's too soon. What is that?
23rd to the 26th. Well, 23rd at 10 AM, but. In the evening.
So David, your schedule in September was the 17th, which doesn't work for us because we have council.
the 18th is our meeting.
18th is our meeting. And then if you were looking,
Rosh Hashanah is 23rd and 24th. How about the 25th?
Or how about the last week of September? Sometime.
The week of the 22nd, I'd have to double check, but I think I might be okay earlier in the week. The week of the 29th, I could do the 29th or 30th.
Everybody would be back in town for that.
Yep.
And there's nothing.
There's nothing on the 29th.
How about, I
Want to
did.
just pencil in 29th,
Tuesday.
Tuesday as opposed to Monday?
Tuesday, the 30th.
Okay with me?
I think we have a wiener.
And this was good.
Yep.
And then, so we wouldn't want, so the survey would then have to run through like the middle of October. So we would probably not want to have the survey go out until the middle of August. So it's like out for 2 weeks or 2 months, I mean.
Specific time work. Or,
As far as on the 30th.
yeah.
I would,
If not, I can just put it on there.
David, we'd probably want to have it like 4 to 7, the open house.
Yeah, I think you know your community best. I typically do these from, 5 to 7 or 5:30 to 7. But if you think you need to start a little bit earlier, that we can certainly have it open.
I was thinking if you have like 4 or 4:30, you get people who'll stop in, then they'll go to dinner. And you don't want to, I don't know.
People in this town do eat or
They eat
dinner
early.
early.
I mean, when all of a sudden you say like, when you say 5 to 7, they're like, well, that's when I eat. And then if you say 6 to 8, now it's getting too late. So I was like, well, 4:30 to 7:30 or 4:30 to 7. I don't know.
4:30 to 7.
I think that works.
And I kind of like Bobby's idea. Why do we need to leave it open 2 weeks after the open house? If we leave it open until the 6th of October or,
Yeah.
It will have been out there for
yeah,
a long time now.
Exactly.
6th of October is Monday. Postmarked by the 6th or filled out online by the 6th,
Mhm.
for example.
Plus by then we'll know. I mean, we've already got 300 or some. We got a good number, but we're giving them one more week for anybody who didn't already fill it out. If we're at 100 and 98 or something, then we're really pushing to try to get.
Right.
Maybe we could have stations at the open house where people could fill out the survey right then and there.
That's what I was wondering.
Kind of like the voting booth thing.
I was gonna say we could put them all in the auditorium and read each question, have them raise their hand and we count them.
Just,
Mhm.
how do you track multiple voting?
Um,
I've already got it. I'm running again. All right, anyway.
Okay,
Are we done?
I have, David, do you have anything else that we needed to cover?
No, I think with the target date for the open house on the 30th of September, that will give me the opportunity to create the draft stations for the August meeting. So maybe we can look at the draft ideas in the August meeting, and then September 18th, I would have the station boards finished, so I could have those up on the screen for September 18th.
Perfect.
And then that still would give me an extra week to make any final tweaks on those before they get printed. So this gives me plenty of time to design the open house and make sure everything looks good. And then also just to be able to get the word out too. I'll coordinate with staff concerning mailers and other social media posts and whatnot. So I think as long as we really push the public noticing mid to late August, that will really work for the September 30th meeting. I think we could start getting the word out, but I don't think we really need to until late August. Because if you start advertising more than 4 weeks ahead, it's a little bit less effective, but I think we can start in August and that gives us plenty of time to get it out.
Perfect.
Right.
All right, so that concludes our old business. We had no new business. There was no communication, no report of officers. This brings us to the second round of public comments. Anybody who's online, so we have no one in the room, feel free to raise your hand.
See.
And again, just introduce yourself and limit it to 3 minutes.
Hello, CJ Dearborn, or sorry, that's where I work. So I live in Saugatuck. Good meeting. I was talking right along with you for the schedule of the 30th, so that works for me. So that should work out for the open house. I thought all the selections were good. I was happy to see that we got through it all, and hopefully it'll shorten up a little bit. So
Fantastic.
Thank you, CJ.
And thank you for being there.
Yep.
AJ.
Yep, just wanted to echo what CJ was saying, or Austin Marino, 558 Mason Street, Saugatuck. Yeah, to echo what CJ was saying, just thanks everyone for your hard work here and getting through it, and for Mark, after
You went on mute on us. There you go.
You're muted.
oh, perfect. I don't know how to work this stuff, obviously. No, great meeting all around. Thanks so much, everyone, for being there, and sorry I couldn't make it.
Fantastic. We appreciate your input. Seeing no others, that closes out the public comments, commissioner comments.
Well done.
I think we're all happy.
None for me.
Then we will have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yay.
Fantastic, guys. Thank you very much,
Yep.
everyone. And given the fact that, hey, David, and before he jumps off, our next meeting will be the 21st. I don't see any reason that we'd have to have any special meetings between now and then, or even afterwards, unless something comes up on the 21st.
I agree.
I agree.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody.
Should we all, wait a minute, I'm sorry, before everybody goes, I know it's already adjourned, we should thank Luke.
Yes.
I would move by acclamation, thanking Luke for his service, as our zoning administrator and liaison, our director of our planning. So,
Here, here.
Here, here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, see you.
yeah.
Yeah, very much.
So